What's up YouTube, Gentry 101 back. In this video, I am going to not attempt, but will conquer doing a limited slip differential in our 2008 135i. We're going to be installing this Wavetrac. It is a clutchless system, all mechanical, so it's a bunch of gears essentially that will be, tying together and applying torque to each wheel. The big difference between this and some other ones that are out on the market right now is when you do a one wheel lift. So if you're going around a corner or hit a bump and the wheel becomes airborne, you still will be putting power down to the ground on the one that is touching. Some unfortunately will freewheel and not know what in the world's going on. The same thing will happen if you break an axle. I'll still be able to drive home. So again, I mean, if you have an open diff or certain types of differentials, if you end up breaking an axle, you're done. You're kaput. You're gonna have to get a new axle in there, or tow the thing home. And the fun part's gonna be trying to get some big channel lock pliers. Hopefully, these will fit in there. If they won't, then I will try and squeeze these. I don't even think you can see that. I'm gonna try and use these, and if these will not fit, to grab that pinion ring bolt, whatever it's called, I'll try and use these here, so that way we can break that free and start getting this done. So I'm gonna get under the vehicle now, set up some lighting. I cannot find my safety equipment for my eyes or my gloves. I cannot find my gloves, which is crazy, because if you cannot tell, I have completely reorganized the garage to where you can actually put a car in here and work on it, and there's a toolbox, and everything, again, is organized. I mean, this is all personal detail equipment here, and then over here I have all of our tool storage, and this is what I was using before, so that was pretty miserable. Really, that should be it. Got the vacuum line off, which is obsolete for that. Got our mount torn off, not torn off like it's torn or damaged, but taken off. Got that E8. These were 14 millimeters, not 16s. That one, this hanger going up to the diff, is an 18 millimeter, and should technically now lift off out of here. Oh yeah, best day every day. Now, back in my tech days, back in my time, in the olden days, we walked uphill both ways to school. Alright, so I got this little wobble E12 on here, and back when I was a tech, you can see how this is free spinning. What I used to do is use a air impact and just zip these suckers off. And this, looks like I might have to get as many as I can with the parking brake or parking brake on, and I'll do that on both sides, so that way we can go through this. This is going to be frustrating. I don't know what I did with them. Oh yeah, get that stubby. Can you hand me that pry bar? It's got the red handle.
You wanna go to sit down on the beach?
I'm laying down. What you talking about?
Listen to me, like, you remember the one by the dock, which is very down on the beer? Just sit down and talk and feel the breeze. Wanna do that?
Do I look like I'm in a position right now to do that? Oh, was it not getting any easier?
Yeah, go get some beer after this.
Dork.
Or let's go get things that one that you're gonna do.
So here is the open diff in all of its glory. And what I'm going to do now is get these snap rings out that are holding the bearings. The snap rings are numbered and are set from side to side from the factory with preset backlash. I wasn't even gonna try an attempt to film that frustrating nonsense of trying to get these snap rings off, but really what I ended up doing was using some large needle nose pliers and then kind of wedging these in between the snap ring and the bearing, or the actual race assembly, I guess, just to slowly, I guess, work them out. And here we have the Wavetrac, and here we have the factory open. So what I'm gonna do now is get these 18mm bolts off, so that way we can actually take the ring gear off and then put the ring gear over on here, torque these 18s back to, I believe it's 110 Newton meters. I'll have to double check on that, obviously, before I put everything back together. And then I'm gonna get these races pulled off of here and transferred onto the factory Wavetrac. So it'd be nice, obviously, if you know, everything was pre-machined and preset, but it's not. So yeah, so this is gonna go here, and then this one's gonna go up here. When you're going back on with these, is actually place the differential in the freezer and the bearing race itself in the oven. And then right away, you know, probably 250, 300 degrees for a few minutes in the oven will be fine. Make sure the diff gets really cold. Put the diff out on the table. It's obviously going to warm up slower versus the race itself going from hot to cold. So then you're going to take the race. Obviously you don't want to grab it with your hand because it's going to be hot. Put it on top and then just tap it on, and you'll probably have 10 seconds to work with, and that'll actually, you know, cause it to slide right on there. Again, welcome back. So I have the ring gear off of the old open onto the new one. Got the races off the old one onto the new one. And so essentially what I had to do, and I'm sorry I didn't film it, but I wanted to burn through that as quickly as possible, is take I used a whiz wheel. I guess you could probably get away with a Dremel, and just ever so slightly notch into the old one, so that way you can actually get a 2-jaw or a 3-jaw puller and get onto this race to pull the race off. And then used a small socket. Yeah, small socket. I don't remember what size, but essentially you want it to where it'll fit just on this inner piece here, and then something that the rod portion of the puller can go onto, so that when you start tightening it down, it pushes against this and lifts this off. I'm going to get the inside of the cover cleaned up, try and find where I have my gasket maker, so that way I can get this back inside of here, and then start putting those, or I guess I got to put those bearings in first and then put the diff inside, so that way we can get all this buttoned up and go for a drive this evening. So I'm definitely pretty excited. A little bit worn out now at this point, just because doing this on the ground is definitely manageable, and it's, you know, I feel like, you know, if you're a do-it-yourself type person, you can do this as long as you keep your head on straight and stay focused. It definitely would be nice to have a lift and get this off the ground. Having only this much, you know, space while you're working under that is kind of difficult. So not even gonna lie, that was starting to kick my butt for a second, just trying to get this stinking thing lined up with the splines up there. Everything's still loose, but I essentially got the jack right around here, and then had to make some like makeshift pieces to support back here with the like some tools, and start jacking it up until I can get the splines to somewhat line in. and then literally man-handled, woman-handled, however you wanted to muscle this thing up here, and just one hand to get those splines to line up, and then literally used my legs to grab the jack and slide the jack up under here and relax for a few minutes, because these things are pretty darn heavy, especially when, you know, you're 6 inches, you know, your face is 6 inches away from the subframe, so you don't really have much leverage for anything. And then after that, you know, I got it started by a couple threads right here, and then just started getting our 3 mounting points for the differential. I did not want to screw around with those solid mounts at this time. I mean, the mounts that I have, I inspected. There's like some minor dry rot in here, but nothing's cracking, nothing's torn. You can shove a screwdriver in there and, you know, try and move the screwdriver around, and all it does is like your normal movement. So I am going to start getting these tightened up, but you can, well, I have hardly any strength left, but earlier you could tell that it is now a limited slip, because when you start spinning this one, that wheel would start spinning in the same rotation. And again, this is kind of finger tight right